I look forward to these e-scooters being a big success in our city.
And I can't wait to see what the economical impact is for our city.
Friendly way, it's better than driving, but it's also better than walking.
It said that these cannot be driven on the sidewalks, right? So do we have that infrastructure in city of Brampton on the roads, separate lanes, because then liability comes. So can you explain about that?
We are the first city in the GTHA to be implementing a pilot program for e-scooters.
आप देखें इसका फायदा है कि not everybody has a car.
You ever wondered how you could take transit, get to where you're going, and do that last mile?
We need to have more diverse things that we can use in Brampton so we can accomplish things together.
Travels at about a top speed of 20 kilometers an hour, and it has a whole bunch of other features associated with it, both safety features, built-in lights, sounding devices, locking GPS, so it's always the GPS tracking on it as well. It's a very high-tech scooter.
बहुत simple use है. आप स्कूटी का ऐप डाउनलोड करें या गूगल पे या एप्पल के स्टोर से आपका इंफॉर्मेशन एंटर करें, फ़ोन नंबर, ईमेल, क्रेडिट कार्ड, and it takes just a few seconds. 40 seconds away, you're going to be on a scooty or आप जा रहे हैं.
Nitin, on Prime Asia, I want to see that. I want to see Nitin Chopra racing down Main Street.
ਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਨਵਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਈ-ਸਕੂਟਰ ਦਾ 2 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ। ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ 750 3 ਮੈਨੂਫੈਕਚਰਰਸ ਹੈ ਸਕੂਟਰਸ ਦੇ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ 750 ਜੋ ਸਕੂਟਰਸ ਹੈ ਪੂਰੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ 'ਚ ਰੱਖੇ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਬੜੇ ਸਰਪ੍ਰਾਈਜ਼ ਹੋਵੋਗੇ ਜਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਉੱਠੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ ਬੱਸ ਸਟੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਜਾਂ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੇ ਸਕੂਟਰਸ ਪਏ ਆ, ਈ-ਸਕੂਟਰਸ ਲੌਕਡ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਪ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਬਾਈ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਚਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ A ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਤੋਂ B ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣ ਲਈ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹਦਾ ਅਨਲੌਕ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ $1.15 ਔਰ 40 ਸੈਂਟ ਪਰ ਮਿੰਟ ਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਚਾਰਜ ਹੋਏਗਾ। ਸੋ 2 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਫੀਡਬੈਕ ਲਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਏਗੀ। ਕਾਫੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿਟੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ 'ਚ ਉਹ ਚਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੈ, ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਟਰਾਈ ਕੀਤਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਚਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਬਟ ਇਹ 'ਚ ਬੜੀ ਲੀਗਲੈਲਿਟੀ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਣ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਾਂਗੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਲਾਂਚ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ, ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿਸ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਲਾਂਚ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਔਰ ਇਹਦੀ ਨਿਟੀ ਗ੍ਰਿਟੀਜ਼ ਕੀ ਹੈ।
For this exciting launch of our e-scooter pilot program, which I'm proud to say is the first in the GTA. How neat is that, happening in Brampton? And it's part of our vision to be a micro-mobility friendly city. There are over 600 kilometers of recreational trails, bike lanes, and micromobility infrastructure in Brampton, and we're adding more every single year. We want to have one of the most expansive urban networks in Canada. Active transportation presents one of the greatest untapped opportunities for reducing single occupant vehicle trips and for addressing a host of community design and public health issues. The e-scooter program is one way we are working to build an even more comprehensive active transportation network in our city. Building a modern, inclusive, world-class city where residents establish deep roots, live, work, and play, and prosper involves many moving parts. And for us, this is one of those moving parts. I want to thank the staff for spearheading this initiative and to our corporate partners who are here today, Bird Canada, Neuron Mobility, and Scooty. A big hand to Bird, Neuron, and Scooty. And I have to say, these scooters, the e-scooters, they look amazing. I can't wait to try them out. We're going to be having up to 750 scooters. They'll be available for public use across Brampton on roads with a speed limit of 50 kilometers an hour or less on bicycle lanes and multi-use paths. The e-scooters themselves will not be allowed on sidewalks that they can travel up to 20 kilometers per hour with a 15 kilometer an hour limit in certain locations. So there'll be different rules for these scooters, but we know everywhere they're used, residents are going to have a blast with these. First time I saw the e-scooters was I was going to an AMO conference up in Ottawa, and Ottawa had a pilot project early on, and I was arriving really late because the meeting started early in the morning. I think I got there around midnight, and it was dark out in Ottawa, and on Rideau Street, I saw 2 provincial cabinet ministers going by in e-scooters, and they were laughing. So I'm like, I can't wait till we have this in Brampton, because there seems to be a tremendous amount of joy for those that get to use it. So if you haven't already done so, I hope you check them out. I hope this is going to be something that catches on in our city, and we can all share videos of this launch. I know there's a lot of curiosity in the community. So we want to make sure that we spread the word about this new pilot project that's in our city, and we know it's going to be a smashing success. So, Councillor Vasante, Keenan, Santos, and Power, I want to see videos of you on the scooter. Nitin, on Prime Asia, I want to see that. I want to see Nitin Chopra racing down Main Street. So I hope everyone has a blast today. Welcome to the City of Brampton. This is a special day for us as we launch this great initiative. Congratulations to our 3 corporate partners.
The mayor said that these cannot be driven on the sidewalks, right? Correct. So do we have that infrastructure in City of Brampton on the roads, separate lanes, because then liability comes. So can you explain about that?
So the way the program is set up is basically shared bikes, shared e-scooters, the same principles. So the infrastructure that we have in place, and we're continuing to add the on-road infrastructure for biking. So the bike lanes are there for being able to e-scooter on. We have our multi-use pathways that we have installed on most of our major roads and boulevards, and the entire pathway network of trails in our park system are all open. That being said, any road that's under 50 kilometers an hour, so residential roads where we typically don't put that cycling infrastructure because of lower traffic speeds and lower traffic volumes, those are also all permitted for e-scooters to operate on.
So can be driven on the roads, on the main roads in the cities?
Correct.
And for the speeding, it's a 15 kilometer or 20 kilometer per hour. Can police give a ticket? And also, what about drink drive? Is the same rules what we have in the cycling or the?
So I'll defer to the technical experts on that, but all I can say is that I know the top speed of these e-scooters is set at 20 kilometers an hour. The provincial regulation is, I think, a top of 23. Ours are set at 20. There's the geofencing technology, which prevents the scooters from operating in certain areas where they're not permitted, be that a sidewalk, certain types of roads, so on and so forth. Also, in certain areas, the scooters will automatically reduce to a 15-kilometer top speed. So those are in areas like our downtown and in those areas where you anticipate higher pedestrian traffic. Sorry, your other questions were about...
drink and drive, can police catch them? Because we have seen impaired driving and the other things. So what are the rules? And this reason is the pilot project has already started. The cycles are all over the town, and the population, the residents, they are not aware about the legality of the issues. If their kids, children go out and ride this bike, what and what not to do, what to do, what not to do, where to drive, where not to drive, what legality they have to see, because these things has to be there before anything happen, any incidents happen. So we must be clear about that.
Yeah, I would let because I know all the vendors have their own programs. There is an educational component to this. I will say that I think the use of the e-scooters is restricted to 16 years of age and up. But the enforcement issues or how that gets enforced through the technology itself, I think is something that I'll invite the vendors to speak to.
Your question on driving inebriated, so we have this really annoying quiz that pops up, around 6 o'clock or so. I mean, I don't drink, but I find it annoying. So if you have to go through that process, and that's how we sort of prevent inebriated riding. Your question on educating people on how to ride in a safe and effective manner, we do, like other operators, we're going to do a lot of public events. There's a lot of engagement that goes out on social media. So there is going to be a lot of education that will happen to the community, and we won't just launch it, just like that.
Sure, I've said most of it, but the app actually has rules. So when you download the app, so you can't use the device without downloading the app, okay? So that's the first thing. So when you get the app and you download the app, you go, it's the Bird app in the iOS store or the Google Play Store. Before you take a ride, there's a bunch of rules you have to read and acknowledge. You can't just scroll through. You have to read all the rules, say, yes, I've read this, next page, yes, I read, to Shoaib's point. And then you have education about all the rules. Then there's a whole bunch of technology as well that prevents the things from occurring that you asked about. The speed, as Henrik said, you actually physically can't go above 15 in the 15 area or 20 in the 20 area. That the scooter won't let you. They're all geofenced and geolocated. On inebriation, to Shoaib's point, you actually have to write in certain answers to certain things to test whether your cognitive abilities are enough that you're obviously not inebriated and can ride the scooter. So there's a whole bunch of technology that prevents all those things from occurring. You have to take a picture of where you parked the scooter after you park it, and we do a verification of whether you parked it correctly. So there's rule like this. What you're raising is common in every single city around the world, and we've dealt with all these challenges before. So there are ways to mitigate those concerns for sure.
How much is the rent per use or monthly use? And what is the reason City of Toronto, they declined the pilot project?
Well, they're not as forward-thinking as the city of Brampton, obviously. That's the answer. They can't get their stuff together. Right, Manny? And they don't even have a mayor. But anyways, besides that, no. So to answer your other question before that was how much does it cost? So it's a per usage basis. It's typically by the minute. So there's a fee to unlock it, and then there's a per minute fee. So if you take it, 4 or 5 minutes, it's usually around the same price as public transportation. The average ride is typically around 2 to 5 kilometers. So to go that far, it takes around 5 minutes or so. So it's typically around $3 around that price.
So I just add to that, we've got a number of pricing options for residents here in Brampton. So it like Bird, it's $1.15 to unlock, 35 cents a minute. But there's also a 3-day, a weekly, and a monthly pass. The monthly pass is our most popular option at $89, and it provides great value to riders up to 90 minutes a day. And we factor a number of trips into that to make sure riders get the best value. So for less than a transit pass in most major cities, people can get around in a safe, convenient, and fun way. That's always a tricky question, but yes, there's insurance.
Okay, how much is, because reason we are asking this, that these are already in the city. And we were surprised when we saw all of a sudden, whole of the city has this, but we don't have the details. How much is the insurance? I think we have to go to the app to get all the details. But if you can explain how much is the insurance for this?
It's not necessarily how much, it's circumstance. So riders agree to terms and conditions, and therefore, insurance is based on when they agree, and there's different insurance for different things that occur. But other operators might want to speak to that. I don't want to digress too much on that issue.
We all have to have certain insurance to operate, and obviously indemnify the city. So we all have, commercial general liability insurance for the service, just like rideshare would, just like Uber does or Lyft or whatever. Same thing.
And maybe just as a blanket overall of that, for more information, if you do go to brampton.ca/e-scooter, all the information is there on the program. It has links to all of the vendors. And any further information, I think you can find that. I know the city did do its best efforts, I think, in the months, maybe even over a month, to kind of get the word out there on various social media channels and all that. But yeah, the program officially, I guess it started, the first scooters were put out on Monday. So they've been appearing in the city. This is our, the very first week. We're already hearing feedback. There's obviously challenges that we're going to have to address, but they're anticipated. They're all worked into this. We've got this is a pilot project at the end of the day. It's a test to see how we can make this best work for Brampton.
On Prime Asia TV, you're going to see something you've never seen before. You're going to see Nitin Chopra on an e-scooter in downtown Brampton. This is the first in the GTA. We've seen this in other cities in Canada, in Ottawa and Calgary, Edmonton, the list goes on, but not in the GTA. And so we're excited that this is going to be another option for Brampton residents to enjoy the beautiful outdoors, the fresh air. I look forward to these e-scooters being a big success in our city. And our model for the demonstration today is Mr. Nitin Chopra. Stay tuned.
Right now we are here in downtown Brampton. We're so excited that we're the first city in the GTA to have e-scooters on the roads. So there's 3 apps that you could download, use the scooters across the city, friendly way. It's better than driving, but it's also better than walking. You can use this to get to your transit stations, to your transit stops, take the bus, get around the city. As much friendly as we can make our city for people to travel across, the better it is.
So we're here in Brampton City Hall for the launch of the exciting pilot program for our e-scooters in Brampton, and we are the first city in the GTHA to be implementing a pilot program for e-scooters. As we grow to become a bigger city, we're finding new innovative ways for people to travel to and from their various areas across the city of Brampton. And these e-scooters, which have been successful in Ottawa as well as in cities like Windsor and across Europe, are really breaking through, and we are so proud to introduce this pilot in the city of Brampton. We're in the lead in the GTHA on this pilot.
Very exciting day here in the city as we launch the pilot project for e-scooters, and it comes with some great things. It doesn't just get us around the city easy and in a fun way. It's great on the environment, and I can't wait to see what the economical impact is for our city. You know, we can stop by other stores, you can go see people, you can meet up, go for rides, stay active and be outside, and I'm just so happy that we are the first city in the GTA to launch this, and I'm excited to see how it goes and actually make this a permanent thing here in the city of Brampton.
Here at the launch of our e-scooter pilots in the city of Brampton. Have you ever wondered how you can take transit, get to where you're going, and do that last mile? E-scooters are the answer. If you need to get somewhere really quick, just a short distance, try these e-scooters in Brampton, check them out, let us know what you think.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਏ ਆ e-scooter project ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ these are the ways of getting around the city without using a car, and I think it's so important that we have these e-scooters from getting one place to another. There's functions where there's different languages that we can use, especially in Brampton. We need to have more diverse things that we can use in Brampton so we can accomplish things together.
Henrik, the e-scooters. So first, let us know what e-scooters are.
So e-scooters are, many of your listeners may be familiar with just the regular type of scooter. This is it's a heavier device. It's powered. It's powered, so it's a throttle, so that you don't have to push yourself. Travels at about a top speed of 20 kilometers an hour, and it has a whole bunch of other features associated with it. Both safety features, built-in lights, sounding devices. Locking, GPS, so it's always the GPS tracking on it as well. It's a very high-tech scooter, but the purpose of it is to be able to make those small trips that we need to do every day, from A to B, short trips that we shouldn't be doing in our cars, and the scooter is kind of the ideal vehicle for that.
How many cities in Canada they are using e-scooters?
I don't know a specific example, but I know for sure places like Windsor, Kitchener, Calgary, Montreal, Ottawa, Hamilton is about to launch. They're just behind us. I think they're looking at launching a program as well, and Brampton now too. And then that's. I'm sure there are probably others as well that I'm missing here, but we're certainly not the first. And it's something that's done all over North America too.
So pilot project is for 2 years.
It's a 2-year pilot project.
Okay. Now the driving aspect of this. These are all over in city of Brampton. So if someone has to drive it, if I have to drive it for 15 minutes, I go to the app and drive it. How much the cost it comes to me for driving 15 minutes?
And I don't have the specifics on the cost. That's probably something the vendor could address a little bit better. But I think the way they were describing it, it's the equivalent of if you were doing a 10-minute trip on a scooter, which is about the distance of a transit trip, it'll be about $3. So for 10 minutes, about $3, that'll get you at least kind of between 2 to 5 kilometers on a trip.
Okay. So what is the reason to have the e-scooter in any city? Reason is like smart cities, downtown area, or the Google head office, we have seen their e-scooters. But in the cities like Brampton, where we don't have a separate lanes. So now for the driving, we cannot, because that's very important, because we cannot drive on the sidewalks.
Correct.
Sidewalks, pathways. So where to drive these e-scooters?
Yeah, so that's part of an evolution too, that over the past 3 years we've been trying to build what we're calling an active transportation network. So to fill out the network for bicycles, it's called a cycling network, but it's intended to accommodate devices like e-scooters as well. The purpose of not having it on the sidewalks is, I think we've heard the same thing. We hear the same complaint with bicycles about the concerns of people mixing pedestrians and cyclists and scooters, which are faster moving devices. So as we build out the cycling network, we're adding on average about 20 kilometers a year of new on-road cycling network. But I think people should be aware that the city already has a very expansive network of paved trails through the park systems, and the multi-use paths, which are they're like the sidewalks, the asphalt sidewalks beside the major roads, so that there's no need to ride on the road itself. Those ones, a multi-use path is different than a sidewalk, and those do permit e-scooters to be
So
used.
if anybody drives on a sidewalk or the roads where there is no separate bike lanes, will they get a ticket?
Um, the enforcement, I guess, is something that would have to be done. Probably not at this point, I'll say. First of all, if you get onto a sidewalk, the scooter will not operate on a sidewalk. You can't physically drive it. Because of the technology in the scooters, the geofencing, the sidewalks are off limits, so you get there, it'll slow it down and stop, so you won't be able to move. Operating on the roads, there shouldn't be any reason, an e-scooter user is subject to the rules of the Highway Traffic Act, the same as a cyclist would be if you're operating on the road space.
And what is the speed limit, 15 or 20 kilometer per hour?
The top speed of the scooter itself is set at 20 kilometers an hour, but there are certain areas in the city, the ones that have been identified, and it's something that we'll continue to tweak through the course of the pilot project, where again the scooter will automatically reduce to a top speed of 15 kilometers an hour. So for example, the downtown area here, if you bring a scooter into the downtown, it won't go any faster than 15 kilometers, and that's done through the geofencing, geolocation technology that's in the scooters.
Do we need insurance to ride this and insurance to buy from the app only or a separate?
No, that's all covered through the vendors in their app. Again, the city is providing the enabling environment for these vendors to be able to put the product out. The city isn't itself running the scooter operations. We are doing the monitoring for it, and there's an indemnification for the city, but all of the insurance requirements are something that are covered through each time that you sign out a scooter, the liability waivers, and those are all a part of the vendors.
Okay. One more thing, Henrik, so there are so many carjackings, there are so many thefts going on. So e-scooters are there in the city area. Some thieves, they don't leave our catalytic converters, they don't leave luxurious cars. Will they leave these parts because they are not locked? They can sell it scraps also.
Good question. I guess we'll wait and see. I don't know if I've heard, we've heard a lot from our vendors about the security on these scooters themselves. So again, I suppose if somebody wants to get at something,
of course, 600-700.
They can get to it. I'm not too sure what is of value in these scooters to them, other than there's batteries in there and some of the GPS technology, but probably a different scale than an automobile.
So can you take that in your planning and discussion? Reason is because catalytic converter they are selling for $500-600, and these can be sell more than that. So why these are not locked there? They can sell it because theft is there.
But they're basically a lump of metal without the ability to operate it, right? So that's something that
scrap.
It's scrap.
They can sell it as a scrap.
They can sell it as scrap potentially. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We're 3 days into this. We're certainly talking to other municipalities that have these programs in place as well. That hasn't come out as a number one concern, and at the end of the day, it's an issue that our vendors have to deal with too, right?
And is anybody, if they are impaired, they consume the cannabis, they are legal, they consume the liquor, and after that they drive it, is that allowed or no?
It's, it's no different. In some ways, I would say it's probably harder to get to operate one of these scooters under one of those kinds of conditions than it is to operate a car or even a bicycle, right? I think there's, again, before you can take out that scooter, the vendors do have certain safeguards in place that you have to kind of run through in order to be able to, if not indemnify, even physically, assure that I've got the mental capacity to be able to operate.
Thank you, Henry.
Okay, you're very welcome.
तो ਜਦੋਂ ਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਚ 2 ਸਾਲ ਲਈ ਪਾਇਲਟ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਕੂਟੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਬਰਡ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵੀ ਹੈ, ਸਕੂਟੀ ਹੈ, ਬਾਕੀ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਮੈਨੂਫੈਕਚਰਰਸ ਹੈ, ਸੋ ਸ਼ੋਇਬ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਸਕੂਟੀ ਦੇ ਫਾਊਂਡਰ ਐਂਡ ਸੀਈਓ ਹੈ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਹਾਂ हिंदी उर्दू पंजाबी च के ਇਹਦੇ बारे सानू दसो। शोएब जी, हमें आप स्कूटी के बारे बताओ, जो ई स्कूटर की इसकी क्या ज़रूरत है और क्या सिटी ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन रेडी है इसको अडेप्ट करने के लिए?
City of Brampton ready है because there's a lot of opportunities here in the city of Brampton. Mayor जो है, council जो है, they're very supportive of this idea. उनको करना है ऐसे they want to bring a lot of these startups into the city of Brampton. आप देखें इसका फ़ायदा है कि not everybody has a car. कुछ दिन मुझे गाड़ी चाहिए, कुछ दिन मुझे गाड़ी नहीं चाहिए, तो अगर मैं शॉर्ट डिस्टेंसेस जा रहा हूँ मैं स्कूटी लेके जा सकता हूँ। एंड इट इज़ बहुत सिंपल यूज़ है। आप स्कूटी का ऐप डाउनलोड करें या गूगल प्ले या एप्पल के स्टोर से आपका इन्फॉर्मेशन एंटर करें, फ़ोन नंबर, ईमेल, क्रेडिट कार्ड, and it takes just a few seconds. थोड़े seconds में you're going to be on a scooty और आप जा रहे हैं.
शोएब जी, इसका खर्चा कितना, अगर मैं 15 मिनट के लिए चलाता हूं तो मुझे कितना एक्सपेंस पड़ेगा, और ऐप के ऊपर जाके मुझे इंश्योरेंस बाय करनी पड़ेगी, और लायबिलिटी क्या है, ये सारा बताइए.
तो सिटी हम लोगों को ऑपरेट करने के लिए वी नीड टू हैव इंश्योरेंस बाय द सिटी ने सेटअप किया इंश्योरेंस, तो ऑल द स्कूटर्स आर इंश्योर्ड. इसकी प्राइसिंग है $15 टू अनलॉक एंड 40 cents a minute टू राइड. हम लोग स्कूटी में वी आर ऑल्सो गोइंग टू बी लॉन्चिंग सम पैकेजेस, डे पैकेज भी होगा, मंथली पैकेज भी होगा, बट वी आर गोइंग टू बी लॉन्चिंग दैट वेरी सून.
सो $1.40 अनलॉक करने के लिए और 40 सेंट पर मिनट.
$1.15 अनलॉक करने के लिए और 40 सेंट अ मिनट राइड करने के लिए.
ओके, सो $1.15 अनलॉक करन ली स्कूटी नू और 40 सेंट पर मिनट ड्राइव करन ली. सो इसमें मुझे बताएं कि जो ड्राइविंग कंडीशंस हैं, साइड वॉक पे नहीं चला सकते, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है.
साइड वॉक आप बाइक लेन में चला सकते हैं, मल्टी यूज ट्रेल में चला सकते हैं, ट्रेल्स एंड पार्क्स में चला सकते हैं.
बट ब्रैम्पटन में तो साइड वॉक जो बाइक लेन्स है तो सारी रोड्स पे है ही नहीं.
जिस रोड्स पे हैं आप चला सकते हैं, लेकिन मल्टी यूज ट्रेल्स बहुत हैं. मल्टी यूज ट्रेल होता है कि आप फुटपाथ पे होता है, बट इट्स अ वन लॉन्ग पीस ऑफ रोड.
अगर मैं साइड वॉक पे चलाऊंगा मुझे टिकट मिलेगी?
आपको टिकट नहीं मिलेगी, बट द रूल्स आर दैट यू कैन नॉट राइड ऑन अ साइड वॉक. सिटी हैज़ टू मेक दैट डिसीजन वेदर दे वांट टू गिव आउट टिकट्स और नॉट, बट वी एनकरेज पीपल टू राइड ऑन मल्टी यूज ट्रेल्स, the side of the road. You can ride on roads that are speed limit 50 kilometers. अगर 50 किलोमीटर अंडर हैं तो आप चला सकते हैं on the side of the road. 50 से ज़्यादा है नहीं चला सकते.
इसकी स्पीड कितनी है, मैक्सिमम 20 और 50?
मैक्सिमम 20 किलोमीटर्स एन आवर है कुछ थोड़े एरियाज़ में, एंड कुछ एरियाज़ में 15 किलोमीटर एन आवर. एंड जो 15 किलोमीटर एन आवर है, जैसे स्कूल जोन है या पार्क्स एंड ट्रेल्स है, उस एरिया में ऑटोमेटिक 15 किलोमीटर हो जाती है. आपको कुछ सेटिंग करने की ज़रूरत नहीं. स्कूटी में, हमारी स्कूटी में ना एक यूनिट है, GPS यूनिट और IoT यूनिट, वो डिटेक्ट करता है किधर है स्कूटर, और हम लोग मैपिंग करते हैं. दैट मैप डिटेक्ट्स ओके इस रोड की 20 किलोमीटर लिमिट की स्पीड है, इस रोड की 15 किलोमीटर स्पीड. इट्स ऑल ऑटोमेटिक.
पूरे ब्रैम्पटन शहर में कितने टोटल ई स्कूटर आपका स्कूटी मिला के और बाकी दूसरे बर्ड कनाडा मिला के कितने आपने इंस्टॉल किए?
तो पर ऑपरेटर 250 स्कूटर्स विल बी लॉन्च दिस ईयर.
सो कितने ऑपरेटर?
750. 3 ऑपरेटर्स हैं. टोटल स्कूटर्स होंगी दिस ईयर इन द सिटी ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन 750.
सो इस साल में 750 स्कूटर जड़े है रखे जाओगे पूरे ब्रैम्पटन च. अगर किसी का एक्सीडेंट हो जाता है, अगर मैं स्पीड 20 किलोमीटर से ज़्यादा चला रहा हूँ, 50 किलोमीटर चला रहा हूँ, ये जाएगी कि नहीं जाएगी?
नहीं जाएगी. तो स्पीड लिमिट लॉक्ड होती है 20 किलोमीटर एन आवर, उससे ज़्यादा आप जा ही नहीं सकते.
ओके, इम्पेयर्ड ड्राइविंग की बात कर ले, क्योंकि इंश्योरेंस भी है, स्पीड लिमिट भी है, इम्पेयर्ड ड्राइविंग. सो इम्पेयर्ड के अंदर अगर कोई कैनबीज कंज्यूम करके चला रहा है, कोई ड्रिंक करके चला रहा है, तो उसमें इसका क्या रूल है?
तो हमारा एक ऐप में एक फीचर है कि यू हैव टू डू अ क्विज, some sort of a system where you have to pass that in order to ride the scooter. अगर आप पास नहीं हुए तो स्कूटर आपको अनलॉक नहीं होगी, चला नहीं सकते आप.
ठीक है. सो ब्रैम्पटन रेजिडेंट्स को क्या मैसेज दोगे आप?
एन्जॉय करें, ये ट्राई करें, नया टेक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है. इट विल बी अ फन थिंग टू डू. आप कहीं भी जा सकते हैं, आपको काम पे जाना है, स्कूल पे जाना है, शॉपिंग पे जाना है, गाड़ी यूज़ करना कम कर सकते हैं आप, और ये यूज़ कर सकते हैं. एंड हम लोगों ने जब चिंकूजी पार्क में लॉन्च किया था 2020 में, हम 5 दिन में 1000 राइड्स किए थे 5 दिन में. तो बहुत पॉपुलर है. वी नो दैट ब्रैम्पटोनियंस लव दिस एंड वी कैन नॉट वेट टू प्रोवाइड दिस सर्विस टू द सिटी. ये स्कूटर में केबल लॉक है. जब आपका राइड ख़त्म होगा तो केबल लॉक डाल के ना लॉक करना है स्कूटर को. ओके. और अगर आपको फ़ोन यूज़ करना है और आपका GPS यूज़ करेंगे आप फ़ोन में, तो ऐसा करें कि इसको उठाएं, इसको रखें, और इसमें आप गूगल मैप दे सकते हैं आप. एंड ये जो हमारा यूनिट है ये चार्ज भी करता है स्कूटर को, सॉरी फ़ोन को चार्ज करता है. दी अदर कूल फीचर इज सिग्नल. अगर आपको राइट जाना है तो राइट दबाएं, लेफ़्ट जाना है, यहाँ भी देख सकते हैं आप 2 लाइट हैं, यहाँ एक है, यहाँ एक है. और लेफ़्ट जाना है आपको तो यहाँ एक है और इधर एक है लाइट. एंड देन अगर आप ब्रेक कर रहे हैं तो ये LED होगी लाइट, और यहाँ भी पीछे लाइट जल रही है. एंड द अदर कूल फीचर इज़ बेल. फ्रंट सस्पेंशन स्कूटर है, तो सस्पेंशन इज़ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग, एंड it's an amazing device, and we cannot wait to launch in the city. Helmet pen, according to the provincial rules, if you're 16 and under, you have to wear a helmet.
Paul, how excited are you? It's a new project, e-scooters. What you'll say to the residents?
Well, you know, for all the residents in Brampton, we're so proud. City Council is here today in Garden Square in beautiful downtown Brampton to launch our e-scooter pilots here in the city. You know, if you don't have a car, you don't want to drive a car, and you take bus and transportation, what do you do about that last mile, Nitin? And so being able to get to your final destination quickly and easily, e-scooter is a potential answer for you. So we're launching e-scooters here in the city. They're quick and convenient, they're environmentally friendly, they're electric, and they can get you to and from your destination very quickly. And so we're very happy to have this here in the city of Brampton.
Paul, you are a very seasoned Canadian. So do you think any challenges in this? Any challenges as you think, because you, Ravina, and you drove, you did a lot of trekking also. So do you think any challenges in this which has to be taken care of?
Well, you know, it's always important when you're driving or riding a piece of equipment like this to use it responsibly. And we're very confident in the solutions and the technology that these service providers have incorporated into their applications. They have mechanisms and systems to ensure, for example, that the person is alert and able to operate the vehicle safely. These vehicles are geocached, which means that their speed and area for operation is controlled. And so we're very confident that Bramptonians, who we think are pretty much with it, will be able to operate these safely.
Brampton.ca e-scooter, there is a website also, all the information is there. Should there be any feedback also, because it's a pilot project and you need a resident's feedback, what challenges they are getting while using it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole idea of the pilot is for residents here in the city to try it, see if it helps you with your commute or to help you get where you're going. You have a lot of different options now in the city of Brampton. You can drive, of course, you can take transit, you can walk, you can take a scooter, you can bike. And so we're trying to make sure that people have realistic options to get to and from where they're working or playing, where they need to go to learn. And so particularly in downtown Brampton, it's a very walkable community. If you need to get somewhere quickly, an e-scooter might be the solution for you. So we're going to be listening very carefully to what the residents are telling us. Staff are going to be monitoring this pilot very closely to see if there is any learnings that we need to take to make it even better.
Paul, carjacking is one of the major issues. We know that thefts has happened. Even the catalytic converters, the thieves, they don't leave it. They sell it for $400-500. So what about these e-scooters? They have batteries, they have iron in it. The thieves can steal it. They can sell it in the market, scrap market, for $100, $200, $500. So any action plan from city or the manufacturers on this?
Well, if we find that happens to be an issue, we'll have to address it when we learn.
Of course, it will be the issue because carjackings, nobody can stop that, and it's happening. Converters are getting stolen. Why not, if they are open in the city, they will get stolen?
Hey, I don't know. You might want to check with the manufacturers, but these machines, these pieces of equipment, they're geolocated, and so they have satellite connection and GPS. And so if someone were to move it out of its operating zone, they'd be able to monitor that movement. And so
cars have GPS too, but they are stolen.
That may be.
Yeah, but these can be sold as a scrap yard and $200.
Well, I hope you don't do that, Nitin.
I don't do that.
Okay.
So any planning for that? Like this can happen.
Well, we'll see. If that becomes a problem, I'm sure there's a tech solution that can help mitigate it.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. ਹੁਣ e-scooter ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਲੀਗਲ ਐਸਪੈਕਟਸ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਨਨੇਸ਼ ਕੋਟਕ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹੈ, ਕੋਟਕ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਲਾਅ ਤੋਂ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਪੁੱਛਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਆ e-scooty ਦਾ ਕੀ ਚੈਲੰਜਸ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ, ਇਹਦੇ ਗੁੱਡ ਔਰ ਬੈਡ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਪੱਖ ਦੇਖਾਂਗੇ, ਇਹਦੇ ਚੰਗੇ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਮਾੜੇ ਕੀ ਹੈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਨੇਸ਼ ਕੋਟਕ ਤੋਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
Hi everyone, e-scooters. E-scooters are here now in Brampton. We've joined the pilot project that began in 2020, and it's to last for 5 years. So municipalities can elect to have e-scooters use their city streets as long as they meet certain requirements. So in Brampton now, in fact, we have rental companies that have come in. There's about 3 or 4 companies that will allow e-scooters to be rented. And there's good and bad to this. Some of the good things are obviously it's a green way to transport around. Some of the good of actually having the rental scooters where there's big names behind it is something called geofencing, so that these scooters are not supposed to go on sidewalks. With the geofence, as part of a technology, if someone does go on the city sidewalk, There'll be a beeping noise that will occur, and also the scooter will slow down and ultimately come to a stop. So it's a great way for certainly people to get out and, in a green way, transport back and forth to where they need to go. What are the bad things? What are the risks? Obviously, safety. Statistics are showing that in major cities, there have been horrific injuries from people from falling from scooters or getting hit by scooters. These include head injuries and orthopedic injuries to the upper and even lower extremities. One of the things to watch for is the issue of insurance. If you're on an e-scooter and you get an accident, whether it's by yourself falling over or with another vehicle or pedestrian, who's going to cover you? Well, let's remember that e-scooters, for the purpose of insurance, is not considered a motor vehicle. So your auto insurance won't cover you unless you're involved in a collision with an automobile. Maybe your home insurance will cover you if there's a liability issue, if you hit someone else, but you should check your policy and check with your broker about that. Now, with the rental companies, they do have their own insurance. But if you read very carefully the rental agreement that you may sign, there's very strong waivers that really exempt them from responsibility. That is the rental company for your injury or if you injure someone else. So you want to read those waivers very, very carefully and make sure you ride safely. Some concerns, particularly with the city of Brampton, is do we have even bike lanes? Are our roads safe enough now to share with e-scooters? They're quiet, right? Drivers can't hear them, pedestrians can't hear them come by. So this is obviously a great concern. I think certainly the municipality should look into the agreements that people are supposed to sign with the rentals, just to ensure that, hey, let's make these agreements fair so that there's some insurance coverage for the e-scooter rider. I hope these tips help you.